Welcome to This Explainer. Today, we're unpacking a spiritual manifesto that is, well, it's incredibly brief, but absolutely laser-focused. I mean, we're talking about a text that's literally just 133 words long. But the weight and the message it carries, it feels incredibly relevant for the exact times we're living in right now. The text we're analyzing is called From the Heart of Women to the Soul of Humanity. We're going to walk through this document together because it maps out this fascinating, highly structured path to global peace, and it puts women right at the absolute center of the whole shebang. So let's just get right into the text and see how it builds its argument.
Okay, let's dive into this. The source material hits us with a pretty arresting statement right out of the gate. You are the source of life. Now, this manifesto isn't just handing out a passing compliment. Now, it is actively positioning women as the ultimate origin point for global transformation. It sets up this foundation where the feminine force isn't just, one aspect of human existence, but the actual wellspring of it. And it's from this deeply rooted, life-giving position that the text begins to construct its entire framework for how a deeply fractured world can actually heal.
Section 1, Awakening Forces of Peace.
And this brilliantly illustrates the core conflict the text is addressing. It doesn't shy away from or ignore the messy reality of earthly conflicts. In fact, it puts the problem right next to the solution. On one side, you've got this divided world, opposing camps that desperately need reconciliation. And we see this literally everywhere today, right? Just deep, rigid divides. But instead of looking to traditional power structures or suggesting a new treaty or political compromise to fix it, the source points to a totally different agent of change. The solution is described as a warm embrace that gives life to everyone. It conceptually contrasts the cold, rigid nature of these opposing camps with the nurturing, uniting capability that's inherent in the heart of women. It's a real game changer in how we think about conflict resolution.
So, what does this actually look like in practice? Well, the text gives us a super direct instruction. If you let your heart rule the world, you will give life to everyone in the world. I want to just slow down here for a second because, wow, let your heart rule. That is the absolute primary philosophical action of this entire document. It's asking for a total inversion of how the world typically operates. Instead of intellect or ego, actually, scratch that. Instead of just the usual physical force and ego running the show, the source proposes that putting the heart at the helm is the fundamental condition required to give life and bring actual, lasting peace to everyone.
Section 2, The Power of Prayer. Now, you might be wondering, how exactly is this profound peace practically achieved? Like, what are the actual spiritual mechanics under the hood here? To understand how this works, the source introduces a concept it calls the upper force. And what's truly fascinating is how the text characterizes the relationship between this upper force and women. It states explicitly that this spiritual power hears your prayers more and listens especially to the heart of women. So according to the source material, women possess a specialized, almost direct line of communication with this ultimate power. It's like having a VIP connection. It completely elevates the role of women from merely being participants in the world to acting as the primary, most effective intercessors for it. Let's move to and see how this builds into a really crucial concept, the convergence of hearts. The text is essentially urging women to use that direct line of communication to pray specifically for this convergence. Notice, it's not about praying for individual gains or, for one of those opposing camps to suddenly win. That's not it at all. The goal is to pray until humanity is connected as one human being with one heart. Individual prayer here is just the starting point, the catalyst. The endgame is a massive, collective spiritual unity. The text argues that the heart of a woman connects to the upper force, which then acts to fuse all of humanity's fragmented hearts into one single beating entity.
Section 3, A Change for Humankind.
Now, what's really interesting about this slide is how the text takes what sounds like a highly philosophical, almost abstract spiritual concept and just breaks it down into a super clear, logical progression of cause and effect. It's practically a step-by-step guide provided by the source. Step 1, it starts with the action, pray for the convergence of hearts. Step 2, the direct result of that action, humanity connects as one human being. Step 3, this newly formed unity causes us to collectively rise to a spiritual height. And finally, step 4, a change for the world for the better will occur for all humankind. It's a beautifully structured sequence. The text essentially argues that you literally cannot skip straight to step 4. You can't just change the world without going through this foundational process of inner connective work first.
Which culminates in this defining statement from the source: together you can change the world for the better. Take a moment to really let that sink in.
In the context of this concise manifesto, this isn't presented as wishful thinking or a mere possibility. It's presented as an absolute certainty, for sure, provided those structured steps we just outlined are followed. The text places the profound responsibility, but more importantly, the immense capability, squarely in the collective hands and hearts of women. It's a stark reminder of why such a brief, 133-word passage carries such cosmic weight in its worldview.
As we wrap up this explainer, I want to leave you with a challenge that comes straight from the core message of our source material. We've broken down the mechanics, the power, and the profound responsibility laid out in these few short words. So, the question you have to ask yourself now is, will you let your heart rule the world? It's a memorable and provocative challenge, isn't it? It completely challenges us to rethink how we approach conflict, how we forge connection, and how we utilize our own internal spiritual capacity. Think about how this framework might apply to your own life and the fragmented world around you. Thank you so much for joining me to unpack this fascinating text. Keep learning, keep seeking clarity, and I'll see you in the next explainer.